Hi, welcome to my On Demand. Today we are going to talk about jazz, a brief history on jazz. Normally our introduction would be to Google the definition of jazz, and that answer to that is it's a noun. It's a type of music of Black American origin, characterized by improvisation, which means to make it up as you go along, syncopation, which is music that occurs on the offbeat instead of bum, 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 bum. Syncopated music would be ba, 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 ba. It occurs on the offbeat. And jazz usually has a regular or forceful rhythm. It emerged at the beginning of the 20th century. Brass and woodwind instruments and piano are particularly associated with jazz, although guitar and occasionally violin are used. Styles include Dixieland, swing, bebop, and free jazz. Our objectives today: the learner will be able to define jazz, which we just did, learn about the origins of jazz, which we will do through a movie. You're going to hear some ragtime music, and hopefully in the movie, and understand how it grew into jazz. You will also become familiar with famous jazz musicians such as Miles Davis and Duke Ellington. The origins of jazz in America. African slaves in the American South began using European musical instruments in the early 19th century. They incorporated their tribal musical traditions with European minstrel performances. Scott Joplin and others popularized ragtime music in the late 19th century and early 20th century, and that's a picture of Scott Joplin, the one on the, well, let me see if I can get a pointer or something. Actually you can see it's the single portrait right there. You will hear a piece of music by Scott Joplin. It will be uploaded into Brain Honey, so I can make sure that you hear the ragtime style of music. Swing and the big bands. Jazz music became more popular in the 1920s and the 30s with the rise of swing music and the big band orchestras. Many of jazz's pioneers, Louis Armstrong, Duke Ellington, Ella Fitzgerald, were making influential music at this time. Bebop breaks the mold. Jazz's popularity continued to grow in the 1940s, but a counter-jazz movement called bebop influenced what was to come later in jazz music. Musicians like Charlie Parker and Dizzy Gillespie led the bebop movement. Jazz moves to the fringe. From the 1970s until today, jazz music has lost a lot of its popularity. Experimental artists like Ornette Coleman and the free jazz movement were not popular with mainstream listeners. Ken Burns' documentary on jazz brought back some of the interest in this genre. Our exit ticket: true or false, jazz music became more popular in the 1920s. The answer to that is true. If you look at the first sentence on this PowerPoint slide, jazz music became more popular in the 1920s and the 1930s with the rise of swing music and the big band orchestras. And then you have a couple names. You'll be hearing these names in the movie clip: Louis Armstrong, Duke Ellington, Ella Fitzgerald, some of them anyway. Now, your independent practice is to watch the movie titled The Eve History of Jazz, take the Intro to Jazz quiz. That is based off of the PowerPoint. Also watch or listen to the Scott Joplin piece I'm going to put in to Brain Honey. You still have to take the quiz, even if you cannot watch the movie. If that is the case, you will need to call tech. It is an MP4 file. Thank you, everybody, and we'll see you next week. Have a great weekend or week. Bye-bye.